Hi guys, it is SAT League with you again. So yesterday, as you all know, we learned the basic knowledge about Desmos calculator on the math section of the SAT, and it was for I taught some ways of solving some easier questions using Desmos, and today I will tell you some the way some ways of solving harder questions on the on the math section of the SAT. So there are a lot of things you could do using Desmos, even for hard questions. Right now, let's start with a question that is harder, and I'm gonna explain you what is there, what you should apply, what formulas there are, and everything you could do on Desmos by solving this question. So I have sent this question to the channel, and I think most of you could not solve it. Let's solve it now. We will only use Desmos. That is the best part. We will only use Desmos. It is the safest and the fastest, arguably fastest way of solving this question. The question asks the given quadratic function 54x to the power of 4 plus 219x squared plus 105 as factors in the form of this, whatever this is, k, this. If a, b, c, d, and k are integers, what is the smallest possible value of a b? So smallest possible value of AB is what we need. Now, let me just write the question down first. 54 x to the power of 4 plus 219 x squared, 219 x squared, and then 105 plus 105. And this is equal to what? It's said here k ax squared plus b. So k ax squared plus b, and also cx squared plus d. That's it. That is the no question, the equation. So now, the as I said yesterday, when we use tilde, we cannot use x or y. We should be using some another form of x or another letter. For example, we could use x first, x1 or x first, the way you call it, doesn't matter. Let's say x first. Now, when we say x first, it gives it gives a possible values of every number here. But the thing is, this is just one possible way, and we cannot find the smallest possible value of AB using only these numbers, because this could be the largest number, this could be the medium number, but it's not the smallest number. Now, what we do is, what we are gonna use something called, I don't know what it's called, but it is random 50. x1 equals to random 50. What does x1 equals to random 50 mean? So when you write this down, the Desmos will put 50 different numbers to x, and it will choose one of them, the best of them. All right. This way, you could find some of the values usually, but in this question we cannot, because we have too many, these letters here. If there were only one, we could have found the value of that letter. But here we have 5 unknown numbers. Then what we do next is we use our logic a little bit. You cannot depend fully on Desmos. You should be using our logic. Here, the question says k is an integer. Integer is a full number. Like, it is usually not. It's not 1.2 or 1.8 or something like that. It's never like that. All right. It is already 2 or 4 or 5 or some number like that. Now, we need to find k. We know that k is an integer. Now, using our logic, we know that k should be divisible by all of these numbers. Divisible, divisible, whatever it is, okay? K should be divisible by all of these numbers, by 54, 219, and 105. How do we find that number how do we find which number k is divisible? Like which number is divisible but by these numbers? So you might, start dividing all of them, or use some formula to find it. But if we look at the question first, we can know that we need to find the smallest value of AB. Smallest value of AB. To find the smallest value of AB, K should have the largest possible value of it. Alright? K, for example, can be 1. 1 is dividable by these numbers. Maybe 3. 3 is also dividable by these numbers. And when we choose one of them, we must choose the largest one for K so that A and B are smaller. They become smaller as the number of K, the value of K grows. So they are quite opposite of each other. Now, how do we find the greatest possible value of K? To find the greatest possible value of K, we have this thing called GSD on Desmos. We create a parenthesis, and then we write down the numbers. 54, 219, and 105. And it will show us the greatest possible number that can be divided by all of these numbers, and it is 3. Now, we can change K to 3. And that was it. That was what we had to do. Now, we found K. We need to find A, B, C, D. Now, again, we use our logic, alright? We already know that they are all integers. And here, the Desmos is showing us some numbers that are not integers. Let's put some numbers instead of A, so that we can see if, let me show you. If we put, for example, A equals 1, C and D become integer, which is what we need. But B is not still not integer, so A is not 1. Alright? That is how we can use our logic. Another way of doing it, easier way of doing it would be saying that AC is 54. If AC is 54 and they are both integers, A must be either 1, 54, 2, 27, yeah, 27, 3, 17, 18, and then so on. All right. Also, A could be, let's say, 4. Can it be 4? No, it cannot be 4. 6. Yeah, it can be 6. 6 and 9. These are the all possible values of A. If you are still, wondering why A is only these numbers, then think about like this. AC both integers, both some kind of numbers that are divisible by 54. And all of these numbers are integers and they all are divisible. Other numbers are not. That is the way. So what we do is we put all of these numbers here and see when does B, C, D all become integer. And at that time, we can know the answer. Alright? Now, if we put 1 here to the value of A, B is not still integer. So we put 54 then. C and D are not integers. That is why it cannot be the answer. Let's put 2. B is not integer and D is not 2. Then 27. Still, C and D are not, and then 3. Now B is not, and then 18. Now D is not an integer. Then 6. D and B are not integers, and 9 finally. Yeah, when we put 9, B is 5, which is integer, C is 2, which is integer, and D is also the integer number. So the number we are looking for is 9. So A equals to 9. Now B is 5. Right now, you might make a mistake, a big mistake. Let's say you have come so far, you did all of this right, and then you just said AB, looked at the number, and write it down to the answer. And the answer for you is 45. But there is some kind of, there is a catch. There is always a catch. If you look at A and B and C and D, they look similar. We could just swap their places. For example, let's say A equals to 2, what we, I think, didn't do before. Now, AB is 14, because we switch, change their places. They switch their places. What I'm trying to say is that AB and CD could be changed. For example, if the question is asking for CD, the smallest possible value of CD, you can put in the value of AB because they can be changed. I hope you all got it. Now, if you look at it, the smallest value of AB is 14, and CD is 45. They changed their, they swapped their places. But if we put 9 to the value of A, then AB becomes 45, CD becomes 14. So it does not matter which one of them you choose. As long as you are choosing the smallest possible one, then it is alright. So now we have AB equals to 14. I guess when we were doing the numbers of A, I did not put 2. I think so. Yeah. I missed 2, and that is why it turned out to be wrong. Something ain't working right now here. Did I miss something? Like, why is it not working right now? I gotta do it. I gotta do it like this first, and then 2. Yeah, yeah. Desmos is kind of, not working properly. So, you could choose the value of CD, you could choose the value of AB, but you cannot choose, for example, BC or DA because they are not together here. Only BA and CD are together, so you can choose the smaller one always. So the answer to this question is 14. Now, what we learned is that the first thing we learned that x1 equals random 50 puts 50 random values to x and chooses one of them. And GCD takes uh, some numbers, as much as you want, as many as you want. You can put it here, and then it will tell the biggest possible number that could be divided by all of them. All right, that is what this thing does. Now we also learned that we could choose the places of CD and AB for such questions only, and that was it. So, as you guys saw, we learned a lot of things by just solving one of such questions. Let me show you another way of using this x1. Okay, so let's say there is this question: ax plus 5a equals 50. Now, you are given this question. What you could do is you could calculate it in your mind, which would take a lot of time and which would not be safe. You could write x1 equals to random 50, and it will show the answer of A here. Yeah, we could change the number, A change to, x1 is one of these numbers. Alright, that is how this thing works. I think so, yeah. Now, another thing I want to teach you guys is geometric. It is related to geometry. So, in geometry, let's say you are given 2 points, 9 and 0, and also random points. I'm just writing random points. And this point, and also 5 and 17. Let's look at the points now. Oh, it's just shown here. Yeah, I did wrong. Now, here are the points. This, this, and this. Random some points. Let's say this is a triangle. You are given triangle in these points. As you could see, this can be a triangle. And you are to find the value of, let's say this place, the red point is A, green point is B, and this purple point is C. You are asked to find the value of the lengths of AB. The lengths of AB. And you are given some information, let's say. And you do not know the formula to find it. Or you want to save more time, or you want to be safe here. Instead of using the formula, what you could do is you could write distance, directly distance to Desmos, and put the points. And when you put AB, for example, it's gonna show you the distance between A and B, the points A and B, and it is right now this 17.4642, and so on. Or you could also write AC. It will show the length of AC, or BC, let's say. That's how you could use it. Now, another way of using it would be on right triangles. Let's say you are given some kind of random right triangle and you are asked to find the hypotenuse and you are given the points. If you are given the points, it's your lucky day because you could just plug it into the Desmos, write distance. First you gotta plug in the points, uh, put the points, and then you could write distance A and B. It will show you the distance, or the you can call it length of those points. Yeah, that's how you can use it. How you could use Desmos for geometric questions. So there was two questions right now I showed you. Is there anything else that can come to my mind right now? Yeah. Uh, Let me explain you this question too. We got time. We got a lot of time. The question asks for the exponential function f, the value of f of 3 is k, where k is a constant. Which of the following equivalent forms of the function f shows the value of k as the coefficient or the base? So f of 3 equals to some number, k. And k is a coefficient or a base of the function. The function is, for example, let's say f of x equals kx squared. Random function, alright? And k here, as you can see, the coefficient or the base. K is directly written in the function itself. The question is asking if f of 3 is k, which of these which of these functions have k in their value. Now, how do we find k? We know that f of 3, which means change x with 3 equals to k. Now we put 3 instead of x and see will the answer of that function become be the base or the coefficient of the same function. Let me show you how to do this on Desmos. So right here, f of x. Let's for example start by the second option, second answer choice. F of x equals to 30, 72, 30, 30, 72, and then 4 to the power of x minus 4, 4 to the power of x minus 4. Yeah, we wrote this function down. Now we put f of 3. We need to find the value of f of 3. F of 3. Let's just stop these ones. And let's write this down correctly, right? Now, when we put f of 3, the function becomes 72. So the answer of this function becomes, which is k is equal to 72. And also we could see that this same number is shown here as the base or the coefficient of the function. So the answer to this question would be B, because k is right here. K is given in the function itself. That is how we could do this question, how you could solve this question. If you put other functions, let's say the function, the last option, the last answer choice, let's write it down too. F of x equals to 768, 768, 768, and then here we got 4 to the power of x minus 3. 4 to the power of x minus 3. Now, if we put f of 3, the value becomes, again, the same number. But this number is not shown here, is not written in here. Because it's not written here, we cannot choose this answer. In this function, however, in the function above, the number is directly written. So that is why we should choose this answer choice as the correct one. And that is the correct answer choice as far as I know. Now we learned three things. So here, let me show you how you could solve using the distance thing we learned just now, using this question. It says in the xy plane, a circle has center C with coordinates h and k. Points A and B lie on the circle. Point A has coordinates h plus 1, k plus square root 230, and ACB is a right angle. What is the length of AB? So basically, it is saying that C has coordinates h and k. The thing is, we could put some random values to h and k because it does not matter. It does not matter, especially in this question. Let's say k is 6 and h is 12 or 14. Doesn't matter. Now the point is this. So this is a center of a random circle. Is the center. Alright? Now, points A and B lie on the circle. On the circle means on the line of the circle. On the line of the circle. Point A has coordinates this. Let's write down the coordinates of point A. It's what? H plus 1, h plus 1, k plus square root 230. So this is the point A. And point B is also somewhere here, or here, or here, or here. But they both lie on the circle. The thing is, if this is the center of if point C is the center of the circle, then the distance between A and C and B and C must be the same. The reason why I am telling you this is that the reason why they have to be the same lengths is that the length of A and C is a radius because it is going from the center to a point on the circle. And also the lengths of C and B, let's say B is here, must be radius also because B is also on the circle and C is the center. So what we know is that the length of AC and CB is the same. Alright? The lengths of AC and CB are the same. Now, it is telling us that ACB here is a right angle. Right angle is formed by 90 degrees. So let's imagine here is angle B, point B, sorry. Here is, let's say, point B. Now the lengths of AC and CB are the same. We could just find the lengths of AC and say that the same length is also for CB. AC Now, the length of AC, the distance of AC is this, and this is also the distance of CB. I think you all got the reason why it is. So, we are asked to find the length of AB. Let's imagine, let's say point B is, it's just random number, right? Point B is 725. 725. Oh, what is it? 25 7. Yeah, 25 7. So let's just assume that AC is here, CB is here, right? But what we need to do is that the lengths of this AC and CB are the same. And now we need to find the length of this. We are given two sides of a right triangle, then the third side is the sum of the squares of the first two sides. I think in the the Pythagorean theorem, or what you call it, whatever it is. All right. So now distance of AC, distance of AC is this number. Let's call this number length L. All right. L of both CB and AC. So L squared plus L squared equals, it equals to let's say V squared. V is here as AB. V equals to AB. L equals to CB, and also L equals to AC. So now we need to find the value of AB, which is V. We could just change the equation sign, the you know, I hope you understood it. This, we could change this to tilde. Now, let's just stop these ones for a time. When we look at the value of V, which is AB, this is the value of V. So this is the value of AB, which is we are asked for. If we look at here answer choices, we cannot find the same value, however, because we have here some a lot of numbers, and here we have square roots and things. What we do now is we are gonna put all of these values and see which one of them is the same as the value of V. If we start from the answer choice D, square root 462, we could see that V and this number has the same value, 21 point this point that, and so on. So now we choose the answer choice D, because V and D are the same value. I think I explained it before on my previous videos, and I think that this one was also pretty easy to understand. I hope so. So guys, that was the full lesson. We learned how to find the distance between 2 points. We learned how to you know use x1 equals random 50, and also by the way, you could write x1 equals to random 100 or random 150 or one random 1000. It doesn't matter. I just choose to write random 50. And also we learned what GCD is. Thank you for your attention. Share the video with your homeboys, and let's make the channel finally 1000 subscribers.